Welcome back. My name is Uhfgood, otherwise known as Keith, or Keith, otherwise known as Uhfgood. And today I'm doing some more talking. Kind of boring. It has to do with my game and stuff. And the last time you saw me on here, Ludum Dare, or however you pronounce it, Ludum Dare. Um, talking about I'm gonna put I'm gonna record some let's plays and put them in the background of my talking videos a little bit. Um, in fact, let's see something here. Let's actually go to show 250 more. Let's see here. Let's go to Grant's page. What does he have lately? Sculpting for beginners. That's probably something that I can look at. Actually, let's check out his playlist here. Get a Blender animation for May, the month of May. Beginner's Guide to Animation in 2.8. Create a cute dinosaur. Some of these are for the older versions, but you can actually, like I did the car one, if you remember. So you can actually do that. Sculpt January 2019, which I guess are his own sculpts. Not really tutorials exactly. Sculpting workflow, create game assets.
In this video series, we'll
Yeah,
be doing a
yeah, I'm
sculpt.
gonna go ahead and mute that too. Now he didn't show you how to create all this thing. It shows you how to create this wooden plank here. Probably I think it's the bottom one, but now even that would work in something like my adventure game because it doesn't look like super realistic. I mean, it doesn't look so realistic that it's like real, like I'm looking at a real object. More like I'm looking at a toy or you know I'm not trying to belittle it or whatever. I just mean it doesn't look like something that I'm realistically like looking at realistic wood, but it's pretty good. And so basically he sculpts it and he textures it, makes normal map and all this stuff, and then he I'm gonna do it like I said. Otherwise, I'm gonna speed it up times two. Um, and So he sculpts this plank in basically high resolution, and then creates like a normal map and colors it and all this stuff, and then uh, he basically he textures it, not with paint but just with adding material to it and creating a texture, and then he creates this high resolution maps, and then he what do they call that? It's like not deconstructing. It's like desiccating. Not desecrating. I forget how you pronounce it. It's basically create turning a high poly mesh into low poly. In fact, it's almost unrecognizable when you see how he removes the polys and some of the vertices and all that stuff after he's done. But then he takes the textures and then puts them back over the top, and it looks like the high res version almost, except for it's a low poly game ready asset. I probably will still be focusing on hand painted, so it will be a low poly model that I will take and I will hand paint the texture because I want it to look like painting, like a background painting, like in a 2D cartoon. Anyways, what I was saying here though is, um, let's see something here. Should I full? Well, if I full screen it, I won't see this here. Um, let's see if there's an option here. Is there an option to? No, not updates. I thought there was options for it to be on top or whatever. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I could say always on top. So what if I said, okay, so what if I took this and I dragged it? See, it's dragging it under. But what if I full screen? If I full screen, it won't. Will it still be on top? Yes, it will. Great. Okay, so what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I'll probably take this out of full screen here in a second. But so I was getting to talk, and you know how they always say that when making a game, we'll say any kind of action game, any kind of just basically any major mainstream game that's not heavily story based. You know, or they always say you get something up and running and you make sure you do what they call is a vertical slice, which is basically you create a demo or you create you do a section of your game and you make sure that it's completely working, like you have all the UI and the even finished art and everything. In other words, it's supposed to be almost like a full game, but it's short in length. It's like a level or something, or a section or a room or whatever. And they were saying that you kind of should that you kind of should uh, hmm, that's what you should do. You should like focus on, especially in an adventure game, right? You should focus on a room and you should just get the system running that has the full UI and all this stuff. And at first I was kind of like, yeah, whatever. But as I'm working here and I'm not making that much progress, part of it is just because I'm trying to learn stuff and I'm trying to do it on video and all this stuff. But um, so I was trying to think of ways, how could I finish my game in the quickest amount of time, or how could I get moving on it? I'm not so much interested in necessarily like I want to get it done in like half a year or a year or something, because I said I was going to take 5 years, right? It's just a 5 year time allotment that I'm giving myself. But um, even so, really it's going to take as long as it takes. But even so, um, what was I going to say? I'm not making progress that fast, and you're not seeing much, And part of it is the thing that I was talking about the other day, yesterday, I guess, about the wanting to get more people watching or more views on my videos and stuff. But the reason I'm not focusing exclusively on the videos, like making them polished, edited, and all this stuff, is because it it leaves less time for me to do my game, and so I am thinking that I still want to get the game done, right? And I I want to get it done in a kind of a reasonable amount of time. So I'm kind of going, okay, maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should do it because it's advice people kind of given before anyways. Like, you should make a demo, or you should do people are saying, you should start small, blah blah blah, and you should have some finished stuff. And I'm learning stuff, and I might as well just learn stuff on this big game. That doesn't mean I can't use some of that technique, box it, break it down into small manageable parts, so they're like little projects, right? So the project might be the littlest project might be creating a quick Blender level, and then getting it into Unity or whatever, and actually making this little demo of like I was trying to do with Godot, where I have this little 3D object moving around the 3D scene and being able to go wherever I click it. So that's like a small project, I could make a small game where it's just one, like an escape room kind of adventure thingy, But that isn't working on my game. That's just working on a system that I would eventually use in my game. So I just figured, why not just do a part of my game? And it's like when I was working on the villain. I decided to work on his little story and his plot points and all that. Um, was that I was doing that mainly because, partly because he's more interesting than the one, and the other part is just um, is just it's something that I might would have done later. It's like I was saying about the most movies and games and things. You only see a little piece of what the bad guy does, and so I wanted to show you from his angle. Um, what he's doing to try to take over everything. And so I was picking him. I was saying, well, I'll just work on one of his scenes, and then of course the first scene that he's in is going to be like right at the beginning um, where the king calls up halfway to the throne room, and he comes in, and they supposedly have a quote unquote board meeting, and decide to fire him and state that Max has just bought Enchanted Lands out. So, in fact, it'll be kind of interesting because I can also kind of introduce some of the villains there. I can put Violet, Moonshadow, and Red Riding Hood, and who else did I have? Zanzibar the Great. Zanzibar, who is actually a magician, a poor magician, and one who tried to tell the secrets of a magician. You don't never reveal a magician's secrets, or at least another magician's secrets. And so he was trying to get away from magicians, the actual kind that do magic tricks, not you know and he pretended to be a wizard traveling in a group of a wizard convention, a real wizard convention. And so he popped through the portal back into Enchanted Lands with the real wizards, and he tried to scam Max. And anyways, I'm getting a little off track, but basically, so I decided I was going to start with the beginning scene, and I'll go a little bit more into that in the next video. So I will see you in I guess a few hours.